What's up, everybody? Supersmallchibiwolf, and today I'm going to be talking about selling but enjoying my collection. So let's get into this. So selling and enjoying your collection. That's an interesting and I would say also an important thing to do in a way. And in that way is, when you look at the collection overall, whether it's like gaming, cards, etc. I'll be using gaming as an example because number one, usually from comment wise, that's what I see a lot of people relate to, and it makes sense in that way, So, gaming wise, you look in your collection and you say, you know what? Also, by the way, this could refer to any type of collection. So, back to the thing. So, gaming wise, you look at your collection, you're like, you know what I mean? This is a good, I have fun with many of these things, but there's specific games that really don't hit that much, you know what I mean? And for that, I hear different opinions from that. A lot of people usually keep games because they think it's like a must-haves they hoard or like a classic and this and that. And even though they do not enjoy it, they still think it's necessary to keep that within the collection and at times try to force themselves to enjoy such a thing. Which, look, you do you, I do me. But in my opinion and advice, I would say sell it and put that money towards something that you actually enjoy and love. You know what I mean? I would say, like, for example, because that's something that I have done. Sell, like, say, GameCube games that really didn't hit and get, like, Nintendo Switch games that was really fun and great. Like, that's personally what I have done. And yeah, to me, it has worked. So that's why I give the advice. Now, when it comes down to other specific things, like for example, going through back to like I was saying, I think it's a good thing, because a lot of times people tend to, say if you do go that route of, although this doesn't hit, but this is a classic, quote unquote, then at that point you kind of just holding it around and stuff. And when you sell something, a lot of people benefit. You benefit, you get money to put into more of your other passions or the same passion. Other people are happy because that specific item is going to be available for them to purchase and enjoy. Maybe it's something that, maybe that specific genre is fitting their interest as well. And, a lot of people wins within that, So I also see it like that at times. Next thing I want to talk about is, I think it also helps, you know what I mean? Like, helps like moving on from. And so you move on from a specific item that you maybe once was very exciting and hyped for. But then you're like, unfortunately, it didn't hit you as well. So, you move on from that thing and you kind of have more space, So when you, like, for example, say if you have like a 50 plus Game Boy collection, and you're like, damn, some of these games aren't hitting. So you move on from that. And then when you look at the quote unquote, whatever is left of what you feel like necessary to sell and just didn't hit you as well, it's more better to, easier to pick something out, especially like adult wise, when time tends to be a little limited. So you could be like, oh man, I feel like this specific genre, okay, fine. Boom, I'm going to play Kirby, or say Mario Tennis, which I never heard anyone play Mario Tennis on Game Boy, but hey, man, maybe it's interesting. But you know what I mean? It's easier way to, less time thinking, more time enjoying. That's how I see it. So that could be helpful too as well. A little side advice as well, and something that helped me too personally. Now, I would say also when it comes down to retro games, I have noticed, prices tend to be crazy, going up, down, they don't even know what they are. So for me, I tend to, either be like, okay, this ain't hitting as well. My advice to that is three things. And to be honest, this also fits another thing, if you really, to avoid, I bought this game, I can't sell it for the same price or more, etc., etc. I would recommend emulation or even like modern gaming consoles sells like a lot of retro games, and I'm not talking about those shitty remakes, which are awful. I'm talking about like actual, like for example, on PS3, I know they had like Silent Hill 1, which I got right digitally, and I see the PS1 version, and I'm like, oh hell no, I'm good, thank you. You know what I mean? So that's a perfect example of, I recommend finding other ways to avoid those specific costs which are just ridiculous. So that's just a side advice I would give is, because don't get me wrong, I enjoy physical media. It's wonderful, whether it's VHS, gaming, Blu-ray, etc. You know what I mean? I think, but, when it comes down to logic, which I tend to also enjoy going by, and look, I enjoy physical more than digital. That's just how I am. But digital, I don't have an issue with if it's logical. You know what I mean? Then I'm like, okay, this makes sense. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm going to be going this route in life. Whether it's Earthbound on the Nintendo 3DS XL, which I got, or recently Silent Hill 1 on the PS3, which I also got. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I'm having fun. It's a great time. And, you still get to enjoy that which you love. And you get to get it basically in a deal. That's a win. You know what I mean? And then the day when you collect and, collectors love winning. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. You have the passion, go to these specific conventions. You meet wonderful people. You have fun. You enjoy the hobby with those that's around you. The similar interests that both of you share or more people could share and you become friends. That's a wonderful thing. But, don't get me wrong. Like I rather do more. I'm classic route. You know what I mean? I rather go to a store than buy digital stuff. But like back then when I was more into the collecting stuff. But, hey man, when it comes down to logic, you can't beat it. It's more understandable to get something, say, like I said, something way cheaper than the actual thing that is just priced like, crazy. But I would say also, even when you're not wanting to buy stuff, going to those places, and it's still a wonderful time. The people, you still enjoy the, media, which whether it's like, gaming or maybe you collect toys or something and figures. It's still a great time to go over there and just meet the many wonderful people that share similar interests to you. And, I have met many people like that. It was a really great time. I remember one thing that comes to mind is like, what was it? I didn't pre-order the PS4 in 2013. I waited midnight launch at 12 a.m. They opened the stores where I went. And I got it there. But within that community, although people knew they weren't going to get a PS4, we still stayed and chilled. It was a great time. We just talked, hanged out. People had 3DSs, and I think someone had like the Vitas as well. It was, what I mean? So although it's not, I'm going to go to this specific area to benefit for myself, you could still benefit in the ways of communication and enjoying and admiring a hobby together and make new friends, Really, really cool. So that's another side advice I would give throughout this video. Next is, when it comes down to retro games, I've noticed it, the price wise also. For many people that also kills it for them too. Now, me personally, I've talked about that many times, so I don't want to be, hitting that point a lot. But that's just something that I heard recently, and I think it's something I would add to the video, because even though I'm not really into the retro collecting and stuff like that, that's something that still I hear here and there from other hardcore collectors of retro and modern gamers, that really, like collect every new release of something, or try to stay in, have like, list of games that they really want and stuff, which I find interesting, like, oh wow, you feel this way too. Nice. And hear like different, like their side and perspective of the things as well. Now, when it comes down to other things, moving on from there, I think it's also important. I think I already made this point, but I'll say it again. you know, to view your collection and be like, you know what I mean, this isn't hitting good, so I'm gonna sell it. Now, another thing I would say relating to that as well is, when it comes down to collecting and stuff, it's great to be able to, a lot of people say the backlog, which, don't get me wrong, there's nothing negative of a backlog, but I would say, usually my little advice for that would be, at least test out and see if things work, and see at least, put like an hour or two after you purchase something. Again, use an example, game-wise, I think you could get a good amount of gameplay and an idea and feel of that specific item within that 1 or 2 hour range. So you could either return it right away and be like, okay, I got my money back, cool. Or, time goes by and you're like, this kind of sucks. I'm going to try to return it. But damn it, how much was it? Oh, you want to sell it because they don't want to, accept the return. You're like, damn, I don't want that store credit. That shit sucks. You know what I mean? So that's another side advice I would give as well when it comes down to, collecting wise. Now, I think, when it comes down to it as well, not a point. Oh, yeah, that's the one. I think, I plan to make a video in the future on this, but I'll touch on this more like overrated games. And a lot of games tend to be overrated, or things and items, etc. And yeah, that's one thing I would say keep in mind. That's something that should be along with the logical stuff. You know what I mean? Test before you buy and stuff like that. So, and because for me, some games that kind of did not hit, besides those some N64 games, would be like mostly from Rare. GoldenEye was the best thing on the N64 that they did. Yeah, and I know a lot of people don't enjoy that game nowadays, but hell, man, when you have 4-player GoldenEye 007 and you going at it with people, those are wonderful times. Yep. But besides that, even modern stuff, like I remember testing out like Cinderella of Edda, Parasite Eve on PS1, etc. Sometimes, some things just do not hit. And those are some that would be on the other list as well of overrated things which I have tried but didn't hit that good. Now, moving on from that point, when it comes down to selling and buying and moving on, I think it's important, to, what was it? I think I made this point, but physical media over digital media. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, that was the other one. I think when it comes down to it, the future of collecting, buying, and selling, it really doesn't look that bright nowadays because, think about it, right? A lot of things are going digital in the future, whether it's movies, whether it's, hell, I think they have even like trading cards that's digital for some fucking reason, and toys, like, yeah, no joke. They have a thing where you scan things and you like unbox like a Loot Crate or whatever the hell, and it's like a toy, a digital toy. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's fucking ridiculous. At that point, like, fuck you, But I don't know, that's just ridiculous. Digital toys. But I have seen it, and, I was looking for some way to talk about this at some time, and I was like, you know what, hell, just fit it in this video. It's about collecting anyways, So, yeah, and that's something that I just remembered right now. A digital toy, like, the fuck. But besides that, yeah, physical media versus digital media. Like, don't get me wrong. Convenience is cool. You know what I mean? You put a song on your phone, you're like, what's up? And then, sometimes, if you bring like a cassette with you to play a specific album, it's like, damn it, man. Where did I put it? You know what I mean? So it could be convenient. Don't get me wrong, digital media was physical. But physical media will always win overall because say if you don't like a specific album or say if you don't like a specific game, many companies' return policies really fucking suck. For example, Nintendo's return policy is horrific. Okay? Like Sony, I think, chilled out throughout the years. And, even back then, they gave me refunds and stuff. for specific things. I think Nintendo gave me one time a refund, just once. And then it went back to like, what the hell? You know what I mean? But one thing that I would say about Nintendo, which is weird, although they don't do refunds a lot, perfect, like say Sony does, at least they have the, heart to do this. And I recommend doing this. If you have Joy-Con drift, which I have dealt with, call Nintendo within where you are in the world, like customer service and all, and just say, yo, I have this Nintendo Switch, I bought it within less than a year, and my Joy-Cons are acting weird. Usually they'll allow you to send it, and then they'll send you brand new ones, or fix yours and send it back. You know what I mean? So that's a little trick that I have done, and it worked. So that's another thing. And plus, a lot of times, throughout the months, Joy-Con drift comes out of nowhere, and it's like, wow, that's kind of ridiculous and crazy. Damn. Let's just all hope that Nintendo Switch 2 isn't plagued with such craziness. But that's another thing that came to mind. Is like, when it comes down to, if everything's digital and a lot of companies suck at, this digital refunds and all of that, physical media, you just say, oh, this shit sucks. Boom, I could just sell it the same price to someone else, or maybe at least $10 off. I lose, but hell, I still get a good amount of money. You know what I mean? So that's another thing that came to mind is, to add it to this is digital and physical media, and how that affects also collecting and selling and enjoying the collection as well. Because if you're stuck with games digitally that you hate and you're like, damn man, this is all my fucking hardware taking up my space, you know what I mean? It kind of sucks. So at that point, if they don't want to allow any refunds, all you could do is just delete it, not see it, and just hopefully you forget about it. For me, I am only doing that for some specific things, like game-wise, so yeah. Now, to end off this video and to use a gaming-related scenario, collecting is more like a gaming related, it's like a Game Boy game, like, you know what I mean? You start off, you're excited throughout your eventuals, you come to know and understand yourself and what you enjoy and not enjoy more. So at the end of the day, when you finally finish what you're doing, you can look back at the things that you enjoy, admire, and love, and know for sure that, you know what, although throughout this adventure I came upon things which I did not love, at the end of the day, I'm winning. I'm having fun, and I'm loving what I have. So that's how I want to end off this video. So, after talking about selling but enjoying my collection, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about it, and what's something you would like to talk about and add to this topic. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, bye.